Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Well, if you've been listening to my almost 400 episodes, you will already know a lot about my past relationships, my dating nightmares, and the main two men that ruined a lot of my younger years were Mr. Lockakey and Mr. No Heart. They're not the only two, but in total, they messed up about 12 years of my life. And part of the blame is on me because I had low self esteem. And I was told as long as I walk like this, no one was ever going to want me, love me, or marry me. So I was determined to have anybody. I mean, not anybody, because there were some, I was just like, no, I'm not that desperate. But it got to a point where I lowered my standards greatly. And with Mr. Lockakey, he threatened his life if I didn't date him. And I placed that fault on myself to the point where I was like, if I don't date him and he does something to himself, it will be my fault. I would be to blame. I can't do anything right. And even when meeting him on Plenty of Fish, I wasn't interested in him, but he kept writing me. But then I thought, okay, at church they keep saying if he pursues you, all this other stuff or whatever. And I was like, and so I said, we can at least talk and be friends because I didn't have that many friends. Most people thought I was lying about my disability. People claimed that I was making it up. People just said I wanted attention. Yeah. So it got to a point where, especially after at that taco party, yeah, go back to the episodes, like, because I'm not going to say the whole story because I've already said it, but I went to the restroom. He stole from my purse, so to the point where I had to drive to his house because the items that he stole were crucial. Crucial, and even me driving in my car was scary because of what, yeah. And even afterwards, if I didn't do as he said, he threatened to punch holes in the wall continuously. And he love bombed me at first, saying, "Oh my gosh, you're getting your second master's. You're so good. You're so smart. I'm so proud of you. Don't worry. The rest of your family doesn't believe in you, but I'll believe in you." But once I was over halfway done, or once I got to the halfway point, oh, it was a different story. He always tried to get me out the house and away from my studies and distract me during tests. And then even with Mr. No Heart, because I'm going to be switching back and forth with Mr. Lockakey and Mr. No Heart. But if you've been listening to the episodes, you're going to know which one I'm talking about. But Mr. No Heart, I met him a little after, like, I think maybe 3 to 6 months after I finished my second master's. And oh, well, first with Mr. Lockakey, he's a high school dropout, but he lied to me, telling me he had his high school diploma. And it wasn't that he only had his high school diploma, it's that he lied to me. And because both of these gentlemen are 50% of the reason why on 3 different dating platforms I had a standard. You have to at least have a college education, a trade, or a certification. Because so many men who didn't put me down and belittled me or told me that I was not allowed to either work or I wouldn't be allowed to talk to their family members about my degrees or projects or business aspirations. And some of them said I wasted my time and I should have only focused on having babies. And that's the awful part with these feminist women, and so many toxic, terrible, just dehumanizing things, to the point where I wanted to keep my sanity. I wanted to keep my purpose of life because so many men think that the only purpose of women is to have babies. But then how come women's brains develop faster than men? It's not just to change diapers. It's not just to cater to them. And if it is to cater to them, that is not a good sign. That's not. That's terrible. If the only reason that our brains develop, because even think about it. If women's brains develop faster in order to work with or tolerate or be able to handle men, yeah, that's pretty sad. That just shows because with a lot of my dating, and because men think, a lot of them think in the most toxic, terrible, dehumanizing ways, because I've already told you about the library story when I was in college and the guy who went to the parking space and how he parked in a way that would trap me. So yeah, go back to that episode. And then with Mr. No Heart, how even with an oil change, yeah, look up Handicapable Black Woman and oil change because I taught, yeah, I think that's a two-parter too. He would keep telling me that I'm bougie, spoiled, and all this other stuff just for going to get an oil change and not asking him to give me an oil change. And the awful, terrible things he did, like each time, like I learned, like one thing, I don't think as of now, it'll take a lot for me to trust a man that does not work at an oil change place to give me an oil change. Because the way that oil changes messed up my mental. Because it got to the point where my father would even, like, the things he said after one of the times because of my ex messing up and slipping up. But then he said I wasn't allowed to tell my parents what he did, what his mistakes, both times. Both times, like when he literally broke my car. Because he said that, because after the first time, I started going to oil change place again. Then he started calling me spoiled again. So then I was like, you know what? I just wanted him to be quiet. One thing I learned, instead of just doing things so that a man will be quiet, leave for him to be quiet. Just leave. Don't go back. Don't go back. And I already know this is going to be like a 2 or 3 part series because my glow up is a little different. And I think that just on and off throughout my diagnosis, I've kind of had slow glow ups. But I kind of feel like this might actually finally be my time because, especially while dating Mr. No Heart, and I was in more pain, and I had to have surgery. Then I had to have physical therapy. Then I had to go to test after test after test. He did not go to one. He did not call me after, because I would tell him when my appointments were. He didn't call me once to see how I was. He wouldn't check on me once. He refused to call me the day of my surgery. I asked him to call me that night. He refused. I had to beg for puppy gifts. I had to beg for that. Yeah, I had to literally beg for that. This fool wouldn't even go to my mother's funeral. I begged him. I begged him. And then this is the same guy whose mother said the only reason I got my degrees is because I'm black. And so that's another reason with my standards. Nah, it's like I need to be able to trust a man. And especially my education was kind of a glow up because especially I'm not the smart one. I'm not the smarter one. And I had a lot of family members who would always remind me. And then in college, a lot of people would remind me. And a lot of people telling me that they didn't believe I was going to be able to do much of anything or finish my degrees or anything. So, yeah, ooh, I'm bullheaded. I'm stubborn and I'm petty. And if that's what it took for me to get to where I am, bet, yeah. Because I finished my bachelor's and not just a bachelor's, one with two minors. And then I went for my MA. Then I went back for my MBA. And then I went for one certification, then two certifications, then three certifications. And so that was kind of my educational glow up. And some people probably does not think that counts, but when a lot of men tell me that no man is ever going to want a smart woman. When men tell me that I have no business going to school, when men tell me that black women aren't supposed to be smart, or black women are supposed to be rappers, or black women are supposed to, oh yeah, one of them, he said, "You're black, so I know you'll be a good woman because you're going to know how to cook. You know how to put seasonings in the food." But then when I blocked him, he gave his phone number. Yeah, because a lot of men, I don't know why. It's like, is it just me? But oh no, he didn't give his phone number to family members. He started using his business phone. Yeah. But and the thing was like they can change the number, or I don't know, it was just really odd. But it was at the same time that I was applying for jobs. So it was really annoying when I would pick up the phone thinking that it was a job, and next thing I know it would be him telling me, "You know good stupid B, what do you think you're doing? You're never gonna find anyone better than me. So you better take your no good blah blah blah," and yeah, etc. etc. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff he would tell me. And so yeah, and then even right after I finished my bachelor's, if you've been listening, you already know how the one guy told me that either I get my master's or I date him, but I can't have both because he's not going to date a smart woman. Oh. And so I'll just say right now, ladies, if you want to get that degree, get that degree. Okay, especially look around us with especially at certain men out here, especially red pill passport bros. They don't want smart women because they just want us to do as they say and make their sandwiches and just act like we have nothing in our lives but them. Yeah, that's not me. And a lot of like I've even had men write me and tell me I'm nothing but a leftover. Well, you know what? I'm proud to be a leftover because yeah, with Mr. No Heart, part of my process of glowing up is the fact that when we started dating, he told me he wants to date me for life. He's never going to get married again because he was only going to get married once. And so he wants me to act like we're married. But within that process, because okay, this is part of the glow up and this is part of what I went through with him, because some of the like when I watched the video, oh yeah, the link, like yeah, a lot of these ladies went through a lot and a lot of these men learned their lesson. But when while dating this guy, while dating Mr. No Heart, if any man, while we were in public, going to the grocery store or the dollar store or like just anywhere basically, but usually it was like the grocery store. If a man came up to me and like if I was reaching for something, it's like, "Oh, princess, let me get that for you. Oh, let me get the door for you. Oh," it's like, "Yeah, let me grab like you need a cart, honey? Let me grab a cart for you." Because he never did it. He never did it because, like, one thing I know he said at the beginning of our relationship is that he was never going to be my white knight. But then throughout the relationship, I'm like, you're not even a white joker. You don't do anything. You don't do anything for me. But then you'd have the nerve to turn around and ask me for my money, my body, or my time. Those are about the only, yeah. I mean, anything else he could, because even he begged for me to start a business with him because he knew that I've always wanted to start my own businesses and things like that. And yeah, I'm moving all around and everything in circles, but everything connects because my, I've had a lot of phases of learning, growing, and kind of just having a glow up. But I feel like now, especially at my age, I've learned so much, especially with my diagnosis. I didn't know who I was. I was so confused with my disability, my undiagnosed disability, doctors blaming me, everyone blaming me, calling me a liar. So I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my truth. So now that I'm diagnosed, like when I talk to men or when men get on my nerves or when men tell me I'm not good enough because of my disability, I'm just like, you know what? Sometimes it hurts, but and it's really funny how a year or 2 or 5 years later they try to call me back. That's one thing I did here in the video where I'm like, yep, this year so far, 5 exes or 5 men in my past who asked me out, but then either said something ableist or sexist or sometimes even racist. They're like, ooh, I get a white girl wannabe. Ooh, it's like you're brown skin, you're yellow skin, and you act white and stupid stuff like that. Or, oh, you're a black girl, you're not supposed to invest. If you have money, how am I going to make sure you're going to do what I say when I say it? Yeah, all of this stuff has been said to me. And then when I block them, they make another profile or they use their business phone or a cousin's phone number or something else in order to try to hunt me down or social media. Yeah, but then some of them are so surprised when they're already blocked on other social media because since social media is connected to phone numbers, sometimes I get, we recommend that you, no, block. So then I already took care of it. So yeah, if any of you guys needed that tip, there's a tip. But with Mr. No Heart, it's like, yeah, with my surgery, with all of the awful medical care I was getting, he never had my back. He never checked up on me. And then I had to pay so much money and stuff, and he owed me money. And I already told you about the Christmas story. So go look up the Christmas story and what he was going because I'm going to at least summarize part of it. He was so desperate to go and brag to his family members. In my opinion, in my opinion, he was so desperate to have something to brag about to his family about me that he was going to use the money he borrowed from me to buy me a Christmas present. He borrowed the money so because his credit score was so low, he couldn't get, like, the money he was going to give wasn't enough. So then he had to borrow from me. But then Christmas comes along and he's never, like, other than a stuffed animal, he has never bought me any presents. But then he would brag about what he bought his ex-wife because he said he would buy her jewelry. And after year 4 or 5, I would ask, like, okay, so when can I get more than just a stuffed animal? I didn't even say jewelry. I said like more than a stuffed animal. And he said, well, you didn't make any children for me. You don't have my kids. You didn't have any of my kids. But I'm the one who is helping you out while you play your video games when your daughters have projects, when your daughter's being teased and mocked and needs advice, when she has a crush on a boy and she needs someone to talk to, or if she just needs to talk to, period. I'm the one that's been there, that's had her back and everything. But I don't deserve anything but a stuffed animal. And part of me feels like I'm not ready emotionally to have that. Like, I want the glow up, but I'm still going to have to see this fool. Because one thing that still aggravates me is how immature he is. I had to have major surgery, and the major surgery still didn't fix one of the problems. And so I'm still working on that problem so that I can, because I told him, I can't drive now. Because this was, oh yeah, before and after. Yeah, I told him before and after. Because at first he was like, because I told him I wanted my blanket while working on my second master's. Oh no, after, no, near the end of my first or it was the beginning of my second master's, I got a blanket and it was on sale and from Kmart, but it's like that blanket got me through my second master's. It's like when I would get chilly, I would bundle myself up while writing my papers and working on my tests. And so that blanket means a lot to me. I like while I could not walk, literally could not walk, waiting for my surgery. Like when I would be watching something on Netflix or writing in my notebook one of my story ideas, it's like and I would have to use a comforter, but I would ask him, "Can you drop off my blanket, please? Because I can't drive. I can't get it. I can't." And he would say no. He said, "Once you get your surgery, this will help you. Like me having your blanket will encourage you to heal so then you can come back over to my house." That's what he said. And so he's holding my stuff hostage. He is so immature, so awful. But then men blame women for breaking up with them when they do actions like this. Cause I bet it's like I already know he gaslit the situation trying to make me look bad. Because even he had to drop off the money he owed me, and I asked him, "Can you please bring my blanket with you? Because you're driving here anyways, so why don't you just drop it off?" And he said no, because he has to have something at his house for me to encourage me to heal up to drive to him. And so after the surgery and the doctors found out it it didn't work, something else must be wrong. I'm like, now can I have my blanket? And this is right before COVID. I'm like, please, it's the winter time. It's cold. I just want my blanket. And he told me no. He said, well, you'll be going through the tests and everything, but this blanket will help motivate you to get diagnosed and come over. So part of my glow up was my diagnosis. Once I had the truth in my hands, it's like once I had that awful, terrible doctor, because at first that doctor thought I was a joke. He told me to go home and walk it off, take ibuprofen and stuff like that. And see, it's like, so I feel like part of my glow up is not just towards my ex. Oh, my ex is a good, but even the medical practice, because my mental health was damaged so much. It's like the medical practice broke my brain and my ex broke my heart. No one was for me, everyone was against me. I felt like I was fighting a war for my sanity. And that's awful and degrading and terrible. It's like no one was on my side except like my father and my sister. My relationship with my father and sister changed so much because I feel like they finally saw the truth. They finally, like, especially once I had that, like, that test, and once I had the diagnosis, they were just like, oh my gosh. And so it was a blessing because there's some, there's a lot of ugly in my past with my family, but now that it's diagnosed, everything kind of like I see how they saw me. I see how I I still don't excuse it, but I see it. And I still have so much pain from it. I have so much pain from it. But at the same time, I'm a writer. So now I can use that pain for my writing. And even with my writing, my ex is going to hate this glow up. And I think one reason why the novel's still not done, I want to make sure it's good enough. Because when I glow up, when I publish it, I want him to feel just because if you've been listening, you already know what he said. He told me that the only way or the only reason he would read my book is if I publish it. Because I was still with him in 2019. My leg went out at the end of 2019, and that's when I wrote my very extremely rough draft of the novel. The very first draft of, and I wrote in like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I think less than that. I think maybe only, no, I'll say 2 or 3 just to be safe. But I asked him, oh my gosh, I was like, I finished my novel. Do you want to read it? Do you want to take a look? And he said no. And so then the next week I was like, okay, can you at least read the first few pages, the first chapter? No. Then the next week I'm like, okay, so you're just not going to check it out? And this is the same fool, because this is why it's like I'm going to have a writing glow up, because this is the same fool who I shared one of my poems from college. I had a printed version of it. And then a couple or a few days later, I'm cooking in the kitchen. And then I go to throw like eggshells or something away. And I find my poem in the garbage. And part of me is like, okay, no, no, no. I gave this to you to read and give back to me. But instead of reading it or giving it back, you throw it away, my property, something that I worked hard on. Yeah, I took it out the trash because it was on top, nothing on it. And like, so shoot, nope. It's like I put it in a folder somewhere in my room. When I find it, you know what? I'm putting it on vocal.media because I love that poem. It came from the heart. But I'm gonna have a writing glow up because when he told me I'm only going to read it if you publish it, it's like he did anything and everything to make me belittle myself. Like, because even went back to the grocery store situation. If a gentleman did compliment me or say hi or say I'm beautiful or just anything, he ignored me for the rest of the day. He ignored me or blamed me. So then I would stop putting eyeshadow on or makeup on or doing just caring about how my hair or wigs or sew-ins or whatever looked. I didn't care because I'm like, okay, anything and everything to make sure men did not say anything to me while I'm with him. Or even without, but especially when I'm with him, because then I knew he was going to ignore me. He didn't want anything to do with me. And so I literally started just stop paying attention to myself. I took away more like, cause I already had low self-esteem. So I love being girly though, but I stopped being girly because he and yeah, this is going to be like probably a 3 or 4 part series because I understand the glow up and I'm still at the beginning phases of it because of everything that I went through. And especially because of my undiagnosed disability, I'm finally learning who I am. But I'm having a writing glow up, an appearance glow up, a self esteem glow up, identity. Like, yeah, so much of me has changed. But I know at the same time, I'm an amazing woman because the men always keep calling me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They come back, they call me. So I know I'm an amazing woman. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I deserve an amazing man for me. Thank you for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy capable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.